Chicago Bulls want to start getting physical. We're going to talk about how they want to do that right after this. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome back to Whole Lotta Bull. I'm Troy. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy, but please follow the show at Whole Lotta Bull. All right, guys. So we're about 4 days into training camp now. Now I haven't really been covering because not much for me that I'm going to add to guys like Hayes and Jamal and even CHGO day by day. But obviously, on day two of on training camp, Patrick Williams goes and rolls his ankle. Then on day three, Josh Giddey tweaks his ankle as well. And as per usual, Bulls fans lose their fucking mind because, like, oh, we're in day two of training camp or in day three of training camp, we get injuries already. When you one of the thing that people tend to forget with training camp is that things are a hell of a lot more physical during training camp, even on the first day or the second day, than what they are in practices throughout the regular season. Practices, there is no such thing as practice during regular season anymore. It's basically they're all just walkthroughs these days. Like it's not back in the old days when when Jordan and Phil Jackson were around where they were practicing still every single day. No, these days it's just walkthrough. So, but the good news is these little ankle tweaks to Patrick Williams and Josh Giddey, completely nothing major. They sat out where once these little tweaks happened, they sat out the rest of practice. Patrick Williams was back on the stationary bike not long afterwards. He was back in full practice the next day. Josh Giddey was back at full practice the next day with after these ankle tweaks. So there is absolutely no issues with their ankles or these injuries whatsoever. So Bulls Nation, calm the fuck down. Seriously. Like just chill. Now, one thing that the Bulls have said that they've identified coming out of the end of last season, more specifically with that play-in loss to the Miami Heat, is that they just weren't physical enough, and essentially they got beat up. Now, how they wanted to get up and down the court, fast pace, and all that, especially after the trade of Zach LaVine, and Josh Giddey got more of the keys to be his natural point guard role, you know, and everything was freed up for everyone else on the team as well, and then it was a better team concept happening offensively rather than just being as much as Zach LaVine had his highest assisted rate for his career, it was still very Zach LaVine central. And then once that trade happened, you get in Kevin Herter, Trey Jones, and Zach Collins. Things offensively opened up a lot more, and it became much more of a everyone involved offense rather than just go, all right, Zach LaVine's the man or DeMar DeRozan's the man. Everyone's an option. Everyone's a threat now. Coby White got more shots, and naturally Josh Giddey got more shots. Nikola Vučević got more shots. Marcus Bazelis got more shots. More shots for everyone involved. But the one thing that they identified coming out of that playing game against Miami is that they couldn't handle physicality. So now they've identified that as a weakness that they need to address going forward. And then they go out and make the Isaac Okoro trade for Lonzo Ball. Now, by all reports so far, Lonzo Ball is looking amazing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I want to go on record and go, I'm absolutely ecstatic and for Lonzo Ball. I sincerely hope he does manage to stay healthy because when Lonzo Ball is healthy, he's a absolute game changer on the court. So if Lonzo can stay healthy, I wish him nothing but the best. And if he can stay on the court for Cleveland, that's going to go a long way for them to winning a championship. But Here's where it comes in the butt. He has to stay healthy. So I'm gonna put out that reminder, and I've said it numerous times, and I know it's upset some people. 70 games in 4 years. 70 games in 4 years. Just to remind you, as great as Lonzo can be when he's on the court, that's if and when he's and more if he's on the court. Here's what it is. That's just purely the facts of the situation there. So bringing trade Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball. Now, as far as the past history of the injury concerns go, you're gonna get someone who's on the fucking court for you. All right. If you've got someone who's going to be on the court now, again, I do hope Lonzo stays healthy. I really do. But past history says even before that knee injury, that's that's not a guarantee with Lonzo Ball. But Isaac Okoro is going to bring you physicality to this team as well. That Lonzo Ball didn't quite have. He was more of an IQ kind of defender and quick, nimble. Whereas Isaac Okoro is going to be more that physicality. He's gonna bump and bruise. And make life physically difficult for his opponent. He wants to guard the best player on the opposition or on the perimeter. And as it always seems like as a team as a whole, they all know they need to get physically tougher, specifically on the defensive end. And if any of you guys have checked out the All Access video that Chicago Bulls dropped today, now shout out to the Chicago Bulls social media team and the guys that put these things together. Do an absolute incredible job. You can see that drawing charges has become a much bigger focus for the on the defensive end this year for this team. I mean, they're out there practicing how to take charges. And they're probably like, and Billy Donovan has said in the scrimmages that they've taken more charges in the last 2 days than what they took in all 82 games last season. Now, doing things in practice is one thing. Doing them on the court is a whole nother. Now, you know, Billy Donovan, if we go back to last season, Billy Donovan said that they wanted to play with a much faster pace. They were practicing throughout training camp with a 14-second shot clock. We saw that translate on the court for the Bulls last year. Now, has that worked in previous years? No, because they did want to. They said, Billy Donovan said he wanted to go at a faster pace when we had Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. That was just never as much as Billy Donovan may have wanted that to happen, that was never going to happen when you have a guy like DeMar DeRozan on your team. He's a half court player. Nikola Vučević is a half court player. They're not up and gun running tempo players. So now you've only got one guy on really on your roster who is a half court style player. But you still need that on this team. You can't just be up and down running all the time, all game long, because you're gonna tire out. And ultimately, now I think Billy Donovan has also come out and said that as much as he's been in the past been a 9-man rotation type of coach, he will need to go 10, maybe even 11 deep on this roster if we want to keep up the pace that this team wants to play at. And it's a couple. So it's really good to see that they are working on being a far more physical, defensive presence on this team. Now we'll see proof in the pudding once the preseason games get started next Tuesday night for you guys over in the States. Obviously, Wednesday for us here in Australia. But yeah, we'll start to see evidence of it if it really starts to pay off, and can they keep it up throughout the course of the season as well. Now, one thing that was pointed out in that video, from the All Access as well, that looks like Marcus Buzelis has put on about 10 pounds of muscle, and he did mention, like, we see, like, a little conversation there with Nikola Vučević, how Vuč has noticed, like, "Hey, look like you put on a little bit of weight. How much have you put on?" And he says, "About 10." And he says, "Mostly his legs." So, that's also gonna help Marcus Buzelis be a stronger defensively. He's gonna be able to hold his ground a hell of a lot better as well, because he's got that lower body strength in him now, and eventually that upper little bit more upper body strength will come in time as well. Now, obviously, having Aya Sumu back healthy this season, that's going to have a massive impact defensively with the physicality side of it. Now, obviously, we've seen Josh Giddey working out in the gym. He does look like he has put on a little bit of muscle there as well. So it is really good to see that the Bulls have been concentrating on working on. They want to set an identity defensively, and that has been a physically capable defensive team, which ultimately is going to help them get out and transition. And defense leads to offense. That's all. That's no matter how much the game changes, there are certain things that always stay the same. Defense wins games. Defense wins championships. What's the point of being able to score 120, 130 points if you're allowing the other team to score 140 points, 150 points? You've as much as you can put the ball in the hoop, you've got to stop the other team from putting the ball in the hoop more than you. So hopefully this team now, we've seen in the past that even with limited defensive capabilities of the roster, Billy Donovan has been able to put together a good defensive system, and the Bulls have been in the past been a fairly decent defensive team. I'm not going to say elite whatsoever, but they've been a fairly decent defensive team, even with the likes of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and Nikola Vučević. Now, obviously, having guys like Lonzo Ball when he was healthy for those 35 games in that first season in Chicago, having Alex Caruso, like having those guys did absolutely help the efforts defensively. But you can't obviously Lonzo only played 35 games that first year and only played 35 games this past season. And there's only so much Alex Caruso can do as well. As great as defensively as Alex Caruso was for Chicago and continues to be in Oklahoma City, there's still only so much he can do as well. Now, a lot of people have made mention about well, I've seen on Twitter that Isaac Okoro defensively was made to look a lot better because he had Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley uh, down in the paint backing him up. And so, how is he going to be able to replicate that in Chicago when he's got Nikola Vučević down there? But and that's a valid argument. That is absolutely valid. But let's flip it around a little bit and look at it this way: having Isaac Okoro out there can make life for the interior defenders easier as well because the perimeter defense is improved by having Isaac Okoro out there. And if Martis Bazelis takes a step forward defensively as well, if Coby White and Josh Giddey they can take a step defensively as well, that makes whoever's guarding the interior makes his job a lot easier. And so we'll go with Nikola Vucevic because he's the starting big man. His job as a rim protector, even though he's not one, he's not a shot blocker, he's not really a rim protector of sorts. But his job as being the man in the middle defensively gets made easier by having good perimeter defenders. When you don't have good perimeter defenders and you don't have a, an elite rim protecting shot blocker down the paint, that's when you totally get exposed, defensively, because your perimeter defense is no good, easy lanes to the basket, and then Nikola Vucevic is just stand there and just watch them go by. His job gets made a lot easier to protect the paint and protect the rim by having good perimeter defense. So while the argument of his job in Cleveland was made easier by having Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen down there protecting the paint, Well, Nikola Vučevic's job can be made a lot easier by having a good perimeter defender out there as well, and actually slowing down attacks to the basket. So there's 2 sides to that one. But yeah, it's gonna be, very interesting to see how things, shape up in the preseason games for the Chicago Bulls. Just looking up the schedule for the Bulls now, the first game I did mention is on Wednesday my time, Wednesday morning my time. They're playing the, Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland, and then they are back in Chicago 2 days later. So Tuesday night now this I'm gonna put this in American times. Tuesday night no, actually, you know what stuff is? I'm gonna put this in Australian times, Adelaide times. Wednesday morning, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland, and then on Friday morning, we've got the Cavs again back at the UC, and then on Monday, Monday a week, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks at the UC, and then they travel to Denver on the following Wednesday. We got the Nuggets in Denver on Wednesday, and then on the Friday to close out the preseason, back at the UC against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm actually kind of hoping from an Australian standpoint there, we'll get to see some minutes from Rocco Zikarsky, who was picked about that Chicago Bulls original number 45 pick that we traded to the Lakers, and they end up trading to Minnesota. So it'd be good to check out Big Rocco. But yeah, it's looking forward to more things to come coming out of training camp. If there's anything I feel like I'm going to add to the discussion, I'll drop another episode on that. Because otherwise, I'm probably just going to be regurgitating the same things that Hayes is saying, that Phil is saying. And I don't want to feel like I'm copying those guys. So no, I'm looking forward to preseason. So if you don't hear from me beforehand, I'll bring you an episode after the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers to open preseason. Can't wait to finally have some Bulls basketball back. And shout out Derrick Rose. Happy birthday. I think he's 37 now, so shout out to the youngest MVP in NBA history. Man, what could have been if yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll catch you guys next time.